CQ, CQ, this is W9GFO. Is anybody out there?
Other people need to see what I've seen. They need to see...
This is the way it's been done for billions of years. Small moves, small moves.
When I first got back on Minecraft and YouTube, I spawned right about, I don't know, right about here. So this is a little hole in the ground. You know, I like to dig into the sides of things if I can to build a base. So this is a pretty brand new world. I'm just now acquiring iron and stuff like that. So there's a couple of back doors and stuff. So I just kind of built into this mushroom mostly. And then if you go up here, oh, I have that auto jump thing turned off because when I go down into caves, that's a pretty dangerous idea, you know. A wandering trader gave me a jungle sapling. I think they've done something to jungle sapling drops. I think they drop more frequently now. It used to be really hard to get jungle saplings. So I just grew up these up here so that if I went adventuring, maybe I could find my way back. I'm hoping to, I'm not feeling like doing this right now, but, well, maybe I can. I don't know. If I climb the vines, I might be able to put a pumpkin up there. Whoa. Not so much. You know, these thumb controls, it's not fun. Anyway, so I've been starting to grow some jungle guys, but they drop a lot more saplings than I remember. Let me see now. If I go up, and I'm ready. Oh, can't quite do it. I just can't quite, coordinate it, you know? Whoops. Guess I gotta jump back up, huh? Alright, I wish I could go up more slowly. That would help. Oop, oop. Also, I can't steer. These thumb controls are something, aren't they? So, I've been working on this, and, there! I got it! I've been working on this just once in a while for goofing around purposes. Not very serious, just kind of messing. So, I thought this would be a good place for me to do just talking about stuff that's going on. And stuff is going on, you know. Hey, it got mines on it. How cool is that? Would like to see it at night, but that's okay. So I was outside. It's getting really, really hot now. Before it was too cold to do a lot of stuff. And now it's getting way too hot. So I was outside doing some chores. I've taken some before photos, and I'm going to show you after of the work that I'm doing. But I'm not ready. I'm not ready yet. I haven't done enough after, you know. So of the work I'm doing outside in my real life. So I was outside doing some chores. What happened? Look at that. I'm sneaking. Well, I didn't know I could do that. I was outside doing some chores, and I was washing some dishes in a dish pan outside. I don't have running water, so I always have to do creative things with laundry and bathing and dishes and whatnot, cleaning things. So I have a big dish pan, old-fashioned zinc dish pan. And I was out there working, and it's not very often that you hear vehicles on our road, because there's not really very many people here. And there's a bigger road down the way that's down the highway that runs parallel to our road that people take more often because there's a lot more people living over there than there are here. There's a long road here, but there's not really a good reason because there's not really that many people. There's not much reason to drive up this road, you know. So I heard a few cars, and I didn't really think anything about it because people do, you know, they do drive here, just not very often. And I'm building a kind of a weird fence thing. It's not exactly what you might call conventional, but whatever. Why can't I place... Oh, because that's not a vine. That's a dang sapling. And I didn't think too much of the sound. But then I heard... Pop, pop, pop. At first, to me, it sounded... Didn't I have a pair of shears? Yeah, I do. At first, it sounded to me like... have you ever beaten a rug? Like when a rug gets really dirty and you just smack it with like a broom or something to get the dust out? Well, to me, it sounded like that. I should be able to do this, right? What am I doing wrong? Why you know? Oh, because I'm hitting this the wrong way. Duh. So I didn't really think much of it. But then I heard a scream. And then I heard another one of those smacking sounds, and I heard another scream. And it was a dog. So I kind of peeked out. The way my house is, there's a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm sitting in a wheelchair. You know, an electric wheelchair. So, I'm not really visible from the street, if I'm careful, and I try to be careful, because I don't want people messing with me. So, I peeked around, and I looked out, and all my dogs are running back to my house. And whoever it was out there went another direction, and I thought, okay, good, because I don't want them. They've got a gun. I don't know who it was. They've got a gun, and they're intent on killing. So I don't want them anywhere near me. So I just kind of skulked around where I thought people couldn't be able to see me too well. And every once in a while I'd peek around a corner and see if I could see what was going on. Well, There was a neighbor. I recognized the neighbor's little truck. He got a little white Japanese truck. I saw him go over and talking to these people. And then I realized the white truck I was seeing, I could actually see something on the side. It was the sheriff. Now, I don't know the sheriff. You know, I've talked to, I think, 2 deputies since I've been living here, and I've been living here, I think, 2 years or something. So it's not like I have much to do with law enforcement around here, or ever want to. So I didn't realize that it was 2 sheriff's vehicles. And then this neighbor, it wasn't a clean kill. The dog was screaming for um, just under a minute, but the dog should not have been screaming at all, you know. So I kind of snuck around because I'm afraid they're going to hurt me. Because I hadn't realized at first it was a sheriff. Although, you know, you're most likely to get, as a disabled person and a marginalized person and a queer person, you're more likely to get killed by a cop than just about any other demographic. That's just a fact. So I'm afraid of police, of course. Um, and they want you to be, so, you know, and then they act offended if you are. So I just didn't go out there. Excuse me. It took them, excuse me. That's better. It took them about an hour, I'm going to say, of, you know, they all got to stand around and be official and not really do anything, but just stand around and admire their work of killing a defenseless dog um, and gossiping and, you know, what men do um, and being hysterical and emotional and irrational and all that. And these are people with guns. So I just kept washing my dishes and doing my chores, comforting the dogs who were scared, trying to do a count to see how many dogs I still had. And like I said, it took about an hour, and finally the unmarked black SUV came into my driveway. And I thought about going and getting my cell phone, but I thought it might look to them like I'm running. I don't bring my cell phone outside because it's so easy for things to get um, destroyed here because of the dirt, and it might get dropped, or you know, all kinds of things could happen. So I don't take my cell phone outside. Also, the heat is really bad on these batteries. So I didn't have my cell phone on me, and I thought, well, I probably should have, but I thought, well, it's too late now because I don't want to look suspicious like I'm running away from them. So I didn't really know what to do except stand there and try to not talk to them as much as possible. Out here in a small town, I mean, it's one thing to stand up for your civil rights if you're like in a big city and have access to legal aid and stuff, but I'm way out here in the country, and I'm sure the nearest municipal court is in this pretty rural. It's kind of a small town. It's one of the cities of New Mexico, but not really a city, you know. I mean, nobody else would think it was a city. Anybody from the city wouldn't think it was a city. So it's not like I can like access legal aid or anything like that, or any kind of legal representation. So you don't really dare stand up for your civil rights. Well, I don't think I dare stand up for my civil rights. I really don't. I think it would be dangerous and perhaps lethal. And you don't want to look uppity. You know, they would look at the attitude. Who does this person think they are? You know. So I didn't dare. You know. So and that seems to me a good survival tactic out here. Do I recommend it for everybody? If you're at a protest march for equal rights for people or something like that, by all means, if you're in a city or an urban area and you don't have to do what I did, stand up for yourself. But see, I don't have anybody around. I'm out here all alone, and these guys could do just about anything they want to me. And there's no witnesses except each other. And you know, what's that called? The blue, I don't know, where they all stick up for each other. You know, so I don't dare try to stand up for myself because they could hurt me really bad. So I didn't. I didn't feel good about it. You know, I felt like a coward, and you know, stuff you tell yourself about how you should be in the world, and then when you're not, you know. So I felt bad about not standing up for myself. I felt bad about not being able to do much for my dogs, who were really scared and really traumatized because they just watched their sibling get killed. Their offspring get killed. There wasn't anything I could do. Like I said, finally, this one unmarked vehicle pulls up. And it's a guy I've seen before because I had to call once. I generally, another thing, do not believe in calling law enforcement if you can possibly help it, because they can do so much to just make your life worse. But I went ahead and I called because my neighbor down the road was threatening to kill me. He did a bunch of wheelies in the dirt along the edge of my property line. He was screaming something. I could barely hear him because I was inside here with a fan running, and the doors and windows closed, and it was a fan on my heater. So I couldn't hear him, nor did I want to, nor would I engage with somebody who sounds like they're probably chemically impaired. The man himself told me that he had been in prison for murder, He told me he killed his mother's boyfriend. I guess he was abusive to her or something. I don't know. That's what he told me. I don't know if any of it's true. Um, so that guy had been here popping wheelies and stuff, and a few days after the sheriff's deputy had come to my house, I found a voicemail. Uh, it was the guy, he was with my neighbor right down the road. Apparently he's decided to be friends with this guy. And my neighbor has been rude and abusive and cruel. Uh, uh, and he said words that I won't say here on this channel. But he said he was going to unalive me. I'm pretty sure that the man has a substance abuse issue, at least one. And obviously, he says he's a convicted killer, so, I'm not exactly people you want to hang out with, So I had met the sheriff's deputy because of that. And the deputy knows I'm out here all alone. He knows I'm 70 years old. He knows that I'm struggling just to get enough food and water. So he was kind and respectful and didn't treat me badly when he was out here. So now here he shows up, and I don't recognize him because I have this problem with face recognition. I don't recognize people's faces, especially because the guy's wearing a uniform. I don't. He just looks like a guy in a uniform to me. They all look alike, right? So he shows up, and right after him comes the white car that actually did have a sheriff's decal, SUV, whatever, and a guy I've never seen before. That was the actual sheriff, and a third person in tow who seems to be somebody in training or something, which worried me because I even asked him, what's the matter? You don't have a TV, you don't have cable, you don't have internet, you come out here and watch people struggling for entertainment or something, which may seem kind of rude, but it was the most self-advocacy thing I dared say, because, they're asking me personal information. There's a total stranger in my yard with weird tattoos. I would have liked to have looked at them more carefully, because there's a big thing these days about people in law enforcement with white supremacy and fascist tattoos. So I would have liked to have seen them more carefully. They were all black tattoos, and they were all, I guess you could say, kind of harsh. I mean, the way the graphics were and stuff, they weren't meant to be pretty. They were meant to be, try to look tough, So I was pretty suspicious of this guy. I don't know law enforcement out here. I don't know what kind of people they are. I have my suspicions, which can't really tell in New Mexico in a small town, because there's a lot of, they usually call themselves Hispanic folks whose families have been out here for generations. And they know a little bit about racism and stuff, and they're a lot more mellow and laid back than a lot of Anglo, non-Latino people. They're a lot more mellow about stuff because, they've seen in their own family what systems are like out here. So you can't really, you can't trust any cops, but small town cops, in my experience, probably because I pass as white, are not nearly as lethal as city cops, and not nearly as terrifying under most circumstances. Not for me, because they see me as a white woman, I guess. And, you don't want any trouble with white women. Anyway, so this guy's out here, and he's not really saying much of nothing. And then finally the boss comes, the actual sheriff. So, it's a big deal if the actual sheriff showed up at my place, because the actual sheriff, we live really far from that town I'm telling you about. Did I just mess up my big tree? Please tell me I didn't. No, just tree's just taller than what it was, I think. Yeah. So the big sheriff shows up, and they tell me that my dogs killed one of my neighbor's cows. To this minute, I don't believe that. I posted here, even on YouTube, my dogs will follow the cows around. They like eating the cow poop. They'll follow the herd as long as the herd stays away from the house. They just walk along and follow them around, waiting for them to poop. But they've never shown any aggression to a cow unless the cow was near my property. Well, where the shooting took place is down by the road, which is, if you were in a town, it would be about a couple of city blocks from my place. A couple of roads, away from my place. Which makes me wonder if one of these dingbats out here didn't hit the cow with their vehicle driving by and drag it out of the road onto the side of the road. And my dogs are just over there smelling the carcass. Because, food. I don't think my cows killed the dog. My cows. You know what I mean. Anyway, I really don't think my dogs did it. But the sheriff is being very insistent, Well, they were all around the cow. I said, yeah, but did you see them take down the cow? My dogs are, most of them are less than a foot tall. Not much bigger than a cat. Yeah, they're in a pack, and I suppose if they worked really hard at it, they could probably bring down a cow, but first of all, they're not that coordinated. They don't work cooperatively that well. Second of all, they're not really motivated, since there's tons of food to eat, and actually taking down a cow would be work. So there wasn't much. Now, wait a minute. What am I trying to do here? 1, 2, 3. Okay. So this is a mistake, I think. 1, 2. See, there's supposed to be 2 spaces between each tree. And then it should be 1, 2. Something's wrong here. I figured it out. Anyway, this doesn't belong here either direction. So I don't know what I was thinking. Anyway, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there should be one here. 1, 2, 3. Put down the things. Little crow pester. Anyway, and he's just insisting that my dog's killed the cow, and it just doesn't seem like a thing. I watch them every afternoon and sometimes in the morning. They escort the cows. They just walk with them, and like I said, they eat their poop. And I mean, not all the time, but sometimes if it's really good poop, if the cows eat something interesting. I mean, it's gross and disgusting, but I mean, it's dogs, dogs are dogs. Anyway, he's wanting to fight, how men are. They create drama, and then they tell you how it's going to be, and you're supposed to go but, and put up a fight and defend yourself, and all that stuff. They feed off of that, they smell blood in the water, and they're like, gotcha, And so I'm not playing, because I'm trying to defend my life here, and, I have animals to take care of, and things I care about, and I can't afford to go to jail, and, I can't afford a bunch of crap with a cop, so I'm just being real mellow and chill, and they're probably really disappointed by that, because I ain't playing. Anyway, so, he kept insisting that my dogs, well, they were standing right over it and all this stuff, and I said, yeah, well, they eat carcasses, when my pig died, they ate it. They ate one of their own siblings, I couldn't bury it, it was winter, the ground was too hard and frozen. I'm 7 years old and disabled, I couldn't dig a grave, so I just had to drag the dog out to the edge of my property, and the other dogs ate the carcass. That's the way it is in the country, So I was pretty, matter of fact about the whole thing, and not really getting into the drama that they wanted me to get into with them, and they looked pretty disappointed that it wasn't more, I don't know, high adrenaline and, all that stuff, because cops are really into that. They really love drama. And then they love to tell you not to be dramatic. You're not allowed to have any emotions, but they will provoke you until you cry or scream or have some other kind of emotional reaction. And then they'll tell you not to be emotional. It's all traps, and head games and stuff like that stuff. So now I gotta figure out what to do with this tree. Excuse me. Anyway, they feed off of it. It's one of the main attractions. It's a power trip. Should I put it here? Yeah, I actually should, because that would give me more room to walk around the sugar cane. I actually don't need any more saplings, I got all this. So they were waiting for me to start crying or get mad or... I mean, the jerk shot my dog. I'm right down the road. I mean, I'm so close to where they are that it's not even a joke, right? But no, they got to shoot my dog and then come over to my place an hour later after they sit around and talk about it forever. And tell themselves what good boys they are for killing a dog that never did anything to anybody. But no, they're, so anyway, that's how they do things. And I didn't dare show any emotion at all. They killed my dog. I couldn't show any emotion. Because they just love that. So the reason I'm making this video is not because I want sympathy for my dogs. It's to let you know that sometimes, they say you got to pick your fights. Well, in a situation like this, I'm 70 years old. I've got no friends or family out here. I'm all alone. I've got nobody to defend or protect me. I can't get any legal representation. I'm disabled. If I go to jail, it could be really bad. I don't know what the jails are like out here. I assume there's a lot of people chemically altered, There's a lot of addiction issues in rural areas that never were before. I mean, there's always been, like, alcohol addictions and some substance abuse. But nowadays, the people who are into the big drug stuff, the real suppliers and stuff, they're way out here in the country because it's easier to hide. You're more likely to get caught. And it's harder to enforce stuff because all these little municipal cop stations, they don't have any funding, they don't have any personnel to, keep an eye on things. And so it's a lot better for them if they can come out here in the country and cause trouble because they're more likely to get away with it. That's why now there's big gangs, and it's kind of funny to see big gangs in these small rural areas because it doesn't make much sense. Anyway, so they're distributed through various gangs and whatnot. Instead of sitting around waiting for this tree to grow, I'm just going to put... I have enough of these strip logs. I'm just going to put these and use them up. Whoops. Oh, what? Really? Why won't it go? This is annoying as can be. I don't know why it does this, and I don't know what to do about it.
I will kill you.
Like, dislike, share, comment, subscribe, or the dog gets it!